And we are recording. We are live, and by that I mean we're just recording. We're not live. So, how do we want to start off? I think there's going to be a lot of preamble type stuff here. So, I have a thing that I'm going to read. You want me to start off with that?
Yeah. Sure.
I could do that. So this is kind of introducing a archetype to the world that we're maybe somewhat familiar with, but especially if you were in the Mudman campaign precursor, there was a solicitor character. Anyway, the role of solicitor in the Veldt has changed over the centuries. In the age of exploration, the solicitor was a bannerman of civilization. In those early days, he served the role of priest and politico, but also made documents and maps, surveying and chronicling the relevant motes of information he encountered with the use of his elegant Simicron staff. Though the solicitor of the past had been oath-sworn to the king across the sea, his duty was to those brave souls he led into lands and dangers unknown. He was the custodian of his people's history and an arbiter of their future, the bridge between where they had been and where they may someday be. The modern solicitor is a shadow of his golden age predecessor. More bureaucrat than luminary, his duty is to investigate and execute frontier justice, to be the tight fist that holds the peering Simicron at the long arm of the Crown Council's end. The mote repository, tucked up and away in a high tower of the Crown Council chambers, serves two functions, one known and one secret. The former is to collect motes, bits of information of all kinds, names, dates, happenings, and hearsays from across the Veldt. These motes are diligently sifted and cataloged by the scrivenous monks that pace from shelf to shelf at the ceaseless task of codifying and organizing these bits of information. The second and secret purpose of the mote repository is to study the moon. Little is known, even in rumor, about this secret function of the repository, but whispers assert that the repository contains a Simicron instrument of tremendous size, whose use expends nearly as much black budget somnium as the explosive public games within the golden odium. So that's a lot of info, but that's just a little Easter egg kind of thing. And so why don't we share some, well, actually, if no one has objection, I think I'll read this little letter as well.
Sure.
And this is all like obviously metagame, out of game stuff, but it's flavor and use it how you want. Septed solicits a letter from the Crown Council to one of its solicitors. Septed Solicitor Alastair Robershaw. Several motes of a disturbing nature have recently come to our attention. The Crown Council has lost contact with Gladlock. And Gladlock is the name that I've finally given to the area we've been playing in all along. A distant outpost in prime logging land along the Vester, Gladlock is well north of the Timber Crown territories, some 1,000 leagues east of the Ripitch Mountains. It is an unremarkable frontier hub, personed by loggers, trappers, and buckwheat sharecroppers, whose authority is currently the charge of a Baron Julius Gladwell. While tribute from this region is trivial, the material resources and cloistered terrain make it an ideal stage for future campaigns against the Timber Crown. In addition, the Gladwell barony is a choke point for river traffic faring the deeper western reaches of the Veldt. Due to reports of sudden and aseasonal flooding in the Shadewater Seep, we have reason to believe that the river gate near Gladwell Manor may have burst. Investigative missives to this end remain unanswered, and there has been no word from Baron Gladwell. We must assume that the failure to correspond denotes the Baron is absent his post. If the lock has been compromised, the manor itself may be in critical condition. Due to the distant and volatile nature of this region, we have deemed a full chain envoy too dramatic and protracted a response. Instead, the Crown Council has charged you to personally lead a small expedition west. Move in haste to penetrate Gladlock, ascertain the whereabouts of the Baron, and re-establish our remote holdings on the Vester. If the lock has been assailed, find out who is responsible and bring them to justice. Find the Baron. If you should judge him unfit to continue his appointment, install a suitable replacement. The Council has assigned a veteran sequestration officer to accompany you, Sergeant Dooley Burns. You are the acting authority on this investigation, but should observe special dispensation for Officer Burns due to his exceptional record of service. You will be further provisioned with a junior officer of your own choosing. Do not delay. Do not divulge our motives to our enemies. And for your own sake, solicitor, do not fail us. the Crown Council. Okay. And with that, maybe we go to Dr. Cumberbund's prompt. And you're muted, Dr. Cumberbund.
All right. So got our moat repository entry for Dr. Cumberbund. The Crown Council and its agents have identified an apparently self-proclaimed doctor and traveling cosmetic salesman by the name of Cumberbund Pettifogger to be of particular interest. While their sources are unlisted and unconfirmed, the following motes represent the knowledge of the repository chroniclers at this time, as this person is concerned. Race: Cumberbund is reportedly a half-elf, though he appears to have more diminished elven heritage. Age: unknown. Reports collected of a 50th birthday party, which have since been updated with a 40th birthday party happening some 7 years later. Physical description: strikingly tall with a flamboyant goatee. Noted wearing a coat with split tails, a long cut, amateurishly tailored. This jacket is worn over other grubby formal wear. Aliases: records of inheritance are associated with one Chuck Patterson, a name that predates records of Mr. Cumberbund Pettifogger. Chuck Patterson was briefly the subject of a missing persons inquiry initiated by a frontier banking and loans outfit owned by one Chester T.R. Holden. Known enemies: T.R. Holden still backs a 200 gold piece bounty for information leading to the capture of Chuck Patterson. Dr. Cumberbund is associated with the assassination of a Slipperfish town councilman, as well as a local sausage forgery ending in the death of one orphan child.
Is that the end?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Stephanie, do you have a mote to share us?
Yeah, but can we do Langdon first?
Yeah. If you're ready, Langdon.
Yeah, sure. I have both a mote and the prompt from maybe last week that I hadn't done before. So
share it if you like. Maybe whichever one you want first.
Okay, cool. I feel like I'll do the prompt first and then the mote, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I had power once. It didn't last but for 20 years. Ah, half a life in the time of men, barely a passing sneeze to the myrrh. Allow me, please, to revel in my rise to power, as I still dwell in my fall to this day. I had made my decision just prior to my Glarafleur, the 50th anniversary of conception and the marking of the first day of an elf's transition from child to adult. The traditional Glarafleur was a honorific ordeal. To survive meant an immediate recognition of the honored's adulthood. Now, many elves piddle away their Glarafleur. They have the pomp and slavinity of the celebration night, and from there it's a slow stumble into a messy adulthood for a century or more. I wanted one the way our ancestors had intended, something nobody had attempted in 1,000 years or more. In the tradition, there's a dinner to prepare the elf child before their tribunal, to get them well fed and energized. Then at midnight, the dinner would turn into a march. The elf child would be led up the mountain, discarding the luxuries and possessions of their older life. As the march went higher, guests would slowly fall away, carrying back to the town the elf child's disposed assets. At the tree line, only the elf child and their parents would remain. The elf would then strip down to their sky clothes, exchanging their final possessions for the traditional hunting tools, a bow and a rapier. The adornments the elf came back with, whether it be in 1 year or 100, informed their adult standing within the Fallow community. I asked my parents to keep the feast to a minimum. I wanted nothing more than roasted game and wild-forged mushrooms, a cask of red wine for my guests, maybe. My parents, as all parents do, were looking forward to a night of imbibement and revelry with their Glaurakeen. My father, a member of the High Council, had people to impress, and so the event was more for their amusement than my benefit. There was music and dance. There were decadent treats from the most inspired chefs in town, and from my family and friends, toasts and well wishes. I, however, could only sit and smile politely. There was no time for such distractions. I had to be prepared for my journey before me. When Safskar reached her pinnacle in the night sky, my Glarfleur tribunal officially commenced. I stood, outspread my arms, and hesitated a moment, waiting to see if anyone would march with me to the tree line. The revelry continued, so I made my way alone into my ancestors' mountains. Once in the mountains, the secrets of the Ordeal are held between the elf and their ancestors. To sum it up, I returned 4 years later, adorned in furs of the most fearsome beasts. I wore boots of oxen, a cloak of ram, a caribou cap with 14-point horns, and the face of a rust-coated snow bear across my belt. My mother, with tears streaming down her grief-cragged face, embraced her long-lost child. My father nodded, acknowledged my adornments, and stepped down from his position to make way for the new counselor. End of the prompt.
Nice. I love it. A lot of flavor there.
Thanks. And then here is the moat prompt that I kind of whipped up today. Name: Lysangfir Algarath. Race: High Elf. Lineage: Mountain or Sky. Age: 259. Physical description: mutton chops cover a scar from a childhood accident. Aliases: Langdon Alger. Possible affiliations: land surveyor or border beater of the Veldt to the Duke of Inverness. Known enemies: the High Elves of Faladir, Dylan Beanblossom. Character observation: despises animal and nature unless they bend to his will. Brown noser to the elite, dirt kicker to the riffraff. Criminal offenses: all criminal offenses from the homeland have been dismissed and redacted, so long as Mr. Algier never returns from the Veldt, the Duke of Inverness. Additional notes: keeps a record of knowledge in a large tome carried at his side.
Nice.
Cool.
Do you still need a little more time, Stephanie?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Okay, so this is just my moat, but name: Stephanie Wynn. Race: human. Age: 22. Physical description: a small, unnotable woman with frizzy blonde hair, approximately 5'2". Easily blends in city surroundings, specifically those of a lower social status. Aliases: Sideshow Steve. Possible affiliations: Stephanie appears to be jumping from group to group, currently reported in the company of a band near Gladwell Manor. Known enemies: none. Criminal offenses: thievery and vagrancy. Additional modes: the Sideshow Steve transition is often accompanied by a haphazard bun. Stephanie gets away with the gender swap due to a shockingly neutral face versus any real masculine or feminine outfit changes or disguises. She is also a known nasty addict.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to spit out a real quick one if you finished that I did for Try Me. Name: Trimerius, ? Race: kobold. Age: unknown. Physical description: small, white, and furry, pink nosies. Aliases: unknown. Possible affiliations: possibly affiliated with the moonshining goblins of Gladlock Forest. Known enemies: Baron Gladlock. Character observations: this small rat-like humanoid has been witnessed with a group of transients in the western reach of the Vesta River. Criminal offenses: theft and/or defilement of barony property. Additional notes: it is unknown at this time how many more of these vermin dwell within the walls of Gladwell Manor. And to our mystery guest, do they have anything that they're wanting to share?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Very good. So with that, I have song intro again this week.
Woo woo.
I was
And
not warned.
how are the levels with this? Is that too loud on the mandolin?
I actually can't hear the mandolin at all.
It's
Oh.
out of tune.
No, I'm kidding.
Can you hear it there?
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
Okay. Well, is it too loud, damn it?
No, it's fine.
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
good.
All right. Well, I'll tell you just what happened to our heroes some weeks back, 'cause we ain't played a game on Zoom here since. And if inside your head you're thinking heroes, that's a stretch, well, I'm probably not the one you should convince. But they did cut down the red orc they call Skullfucker Grizz, though his death brought forth the birth of a red prince. With a demon from another world. He's got red wings and a sharp-toothed smile. And Stephanie said that he loved her from behind the Baron's eyes. And he dosed them all with pure nasty straight from the source. And the moonshine camp began to swirl as the poison took its course. The Red Prince laughed as they blasted off on the parting gift he sent. And they drifted off in a nightmare world he calls the Ravishment, where they danced with their shadows, and time and thought folded in. And the ghosts of their past returned to haunt them, and they churned within a rainbow swirl of sin. When they came back to their senses, the demon was gone. They packed their shit in the sideshow cart and decided they'd move on. And after they had caught up with Francesca and the mouse, they headed off through the woods together for Reinhardt's public house. 'Cause they figure there's a story here that Reinhardt should hear. And they even got sick Chrissy to carry all their gear. But they better figure fast to play the hand that they've been dealt. 'Cause news can fly when a baron has gone missing in the Veldt. All right.
Fucking bravo. Well done.
That was really good.
And so we open our scene in Reinhardt's public house where, just one second.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. I forgot to build Reinhardt's public house. Where our heroes are cloistered around the bar top. And Langdon was just in the middle of a rather long-winded statement about what he thought the group should do next.
Well, what part of the statement should I start with? To summarize what I've been saying, it only makes sense for Reinhardt to become to be the new Baron, and I believe we have all the tools to manage it. The Baron's signet ring, his papers. All we'd have to do is get them signed and put back into his barony. What do you say there, Reinhardt?
I came out this far into the Veldt because I wanted to escape barons and governments and kings and crowns. And you want me to be a baron myself?
There's no escaping it. The rule of the land is going to continue this way, and who better to rule it than the people who tamed it themselves? Do you want someone else coming in here and taming it and taking control of it for you? That's worse than and who knows what type of laws that they'd put into place, what type of rule they'd have. At least this way you'd be able to control it.
I suppose you are right. If there is one thing worse than being a baron myself, it is kowtowing to a baron worse, or even as bad as Baron Gladwell.
You're making the right decision. Just wanted to let you know that.
Francesca, why don't you go upstairs and check on that fool with the pickaxe? He threw up all over the bar, and I still am finding places where it seeped into the cracks.
Now,
okay, gross. TMI. I'm going upstairs.
Now, Reinhardt. I'm sorry. I'm sick right now, so my brain's not working fully. Reinhardt, if you're certain about this, I'll begin drawing up the papers now. The most I'll need from you at this point would be a signature, as and potentially, a signature as an agreeer upon of like where the transfer would take place. Is this something you're ready to take on?
Give me the damn sheet. I'll sign it.
All right, it's gonna take me a little while to get it together, but I'll come down later this evening with it and collect your signature.
Very well.
Dr. Cumberbund, can I have that signet ring?
Pass it over.
Cool.
As your arm extends to pass the signet ring, Trimey leaps from the bar top and crawls up your arm, settling himself down into your front pocket.
Oh, you've returned.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, it's good to have you back.
Weak.
You still ticklish?
So I want to go ahead and go upstairs and start working on some forged papers with the paper and ink from the Gladwell Manor that I was able to pull together, and try to forge papers that make it seem like there's an agreement of like, if the Baron were ever to go missing, then the barony should pass into the hands over to the other founder of this land, Reinhardt.
So Langdon heads upstairs to do
is that okay?
work. And Stephanie, give us a little detail of what's going through your mind right now. Or what are you doing at the bar here? What are you up to?
Sulking.
Sulking.
That's how I would describe my demeanor.
All right. Stephanie, under her breath, says a few words into her glass.
These fucking idiots. We need to be getting out of here right now. This plan is not going to work. What do they think is going to happen?
And as she takes a drink, the door to the tavern bursts open, and none other than sick Chrissy stumbles in, moaning, "Ugh!"
Hey, what did we tell you? Who's watching the cart?
Oh, I'm really itchy, Doc.
All right.
What did I say?
Doesn't feel good for me right now.
Okay. That's all right. We will take you upstairs, but just for now, just duck under the bar right here.
Oh, I don't feel nice. It hurts.
Look,
I'm thirsty.
If this guy sees you here, he's gonna freak out. All right. So just keep your head down.
All right. With that, Chrissy takes a bow-legged seat on the floor and leans up against the bar.
I'll get you a beer. Just be patient.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Okay, and so the night marches on. You talk plans with Reinhardt. Langdon works on his documents upstairs, and Jerry diligently sleeps off his hangover from an overeager celebration earlier this evening. It's getting late when the door opens and an unfamiliar figure emerges. Well, two unfamiliar figures emerge into the bar. They appear to be half-orcs with grayish-blue skin and wide black-brimmed hats.
Vampires to me.
Hmm.
Anyone with a big, wide, black-brimmed hat is a vampire.
They march in and they kind of post up near the door, and one holds the door open while a third figure emerges into the room.
Hmm.
And that's your cue, Dan. If you're still there.
I am.
Okay.
Let's do that. And let's do that. Take a look around. Is the bar literally as full as I'm seeing, or is that a representation of a packed
Yeah,
house?
look here. Take a little scan at the bar.
Okay.
And
Is that He-Man? Who is that?
Kind of. He walks around with
Reinhardt?
Oh, yes, Reinhardt. That's right.
He's a rather He-Manish figure. You see within the bar a sickly, pestilent-looking fellow of orcish breed. You also see a tall and well-muscled, though somewhat aged, kind of Sylvester Stallone type, holding a massive boar spear. Well, maybe he's not holding it. I think it's behind him, tucked away somewhere. As you enter the bar, and you know that this is Reinhardt's public house, you've just been from, excuse me, I'm going to put it on you here. You've just been from the manor and witnessed the devastation there. The bodies of men in Red Guard clothing, Red Guard, not Morrowind Red Guard, but Red Guardsmen that work for the Baron. You've also seen goblin bodies in the body of a looks like a scullery maid of some sort. You witnessed the devastation of the lock, damage to paintings, walls, and you found belongings of the Baron in his personal bedroom rifled through and discarded or stolen. Though you did not find the Baron or any trace of him, really. But you enter into this bar, and you see it. There's a glowing hearth. As I said, Reinhardt, the proprietor behind the bar. There's sick Chrissy, and then the figures we've heard about before. And then there are also two kind of less descript figures seated over at a table under the giant taxidermy.
Okay. I'm going to go up to the bar and order. Does this world have brandy?
Yes. Well, and you can just go in character. That's fine. And,
All right.
I'll give you a warning that sometimes I just throw role-playing demands at people. And so I might just say, like, you're on, and I've got a timer, and you just have to talk for a minute. That's kind of how it works, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
And so, we'll throw you up at the bar with Reinhardt.
What race is sick Chrissy?
He's orcish. It's
Orcish,
hard to
okay.
tell. He's got orc blood. He might be kind of goblinoid. Like, it kind of bleeds when you get with these hill types living in the woods.
Fair enough.
Ends in together.
All right. Barkeep. Would like a brandy for myself and a beer for the men behind me, please.
In an ominous voice, Reinhardt replies, yes, sir. And he reaches down and grabs a glass. And in a gingerly manner that the rest of the group have not before observed with this macho figure, he pours a generous serving of his fine apple brandy.
This is magnificent. Thank you. I'm going to talk to Chrissy.
Dr. Cumberbund, you've got words. Toss them out.
Oh, a fellow brandy drinker. I'm gonna put my arm in front of my beer. A man of exquisite taste and fine garb. What is that staff you have with you there?
Just a tool of the trade, my friend.
Oh, are you a surveyor?
Of sorts.
Oh.
Chrissy peeks out from behind Cumberbund's legs and stares at the unknown party that's just entered the scene.
My dear creature, you look positively afflicted.
Oh, yeah, I don't feel very good. He gingerly comes out from behind Dr. Cumberbund and stands, revealing his pustulant form to the stranger.
I'm afraid you don't look very good either.
Well, we have him on a new skincare routine. It's not done yet.
He appears to be working marvelously.
Yeah, well, it's takes time. These things take time. This is a pretty severe case.
Not always. My dear friend, I am similarly afflicted. If I do not have the horn of the fuck is the name of the thing?
The Auroch?
The Auroch, thank you. If I do not have the horn of the Auroch once daily, my joints are terribly painful. I can hardly move, much less think. And I must think for my work.
I should interject here and describe this figure a little better. Very tall, the only figure in the room that approaches the height of our stranger is Dr. Cumberbund. This fellow looks like, for that reason, largely, he may also be half-elf. Tall, wiry. He's got a short brown beard, chewing on a smoldering cigarillo, and a black leather duster. What else do we got going on with this guy?
I forgot to get into character.
Oh, wow. There we go. Anything else you want to describe about yourself there? And I'll let you continue with your dialogue.
I don't know what everybody's spot check is, but mine's pretty good. You can tell I'm looking around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just surveying the scene. So you're sick too, huh? Chrissy nudges up to the stranger.
Not sick, more ill. Mine is of a private nature, unlike your friend's, which, unfortunately, his choice to come into the establishment.
Oh, my privates are bad. Real bad.
My point entirely. He's rather putting it on to the rest of us, don't you think?
Chrissy nervously itches at his crotch, clearly not understanding all of what the stranger is saying. And as he does so, the two silent figures behind the stranger start to inch slowly and with some menace behind Chrissy.
My dear Snags, would you clear a space for us, please?
And suddenly and violently, the Snags reach out and grab Chrissy by both arms, pulling him backward toward a table hunched near the back of the room here. Hey, that hurts!
Not for long, my friend. You see, unlike most people who are ill, this is affecting the public. It's affecting the society. This is something we must heal you of.
Well, I realize that, this affliction that he has is rather uncouth, and we wanted him to stay outside and watch the cart. You see, he's a new friend of ours, but
and deny him the joy and pleasure of time at the public house. That doesn't seem fair either. No, I think there's a middle ground.
Hey, let go of me.
Soon, but not yet. And then I'm going to...
Stephanie, I'm sorry to interject. Stephanie, I want you to make a wisdom check.
Ted,
how are we rolling, by the way? We haven't talked about that.
What's that?
How are we rolling, by the way?
Oh, do you have dice?
I don't.
I'll roll for you.
Well, don't suck, okay?
Okay, we'll see. I cannot promise that based on previous experience.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm pulling up my roller. Okay. Ooh, Stephanie does well on a wisdom check. 18.
Oh, that is an exceptional wisdom check for Stephanie.
I know.
All right, shaking the haze from her furrowed mind, Stephanie suddenly has a spark of recognition. She feels like she has seen this strange man before. And she is having memories from her childhood and her time spent in the city of Bridges. And suddenly and revertorily, she has a memory of a caring, almost father-like figure from her childhood, sort of a social worker, you could say. But we won't go into the full revelation of that. But you recognize and as a youth knew this gentleman, and return to you, Alistair.
Have you ever had a clarifying experience, Chrissy?
Let
me illuminate. A moment where struggle took away your haze, made the answers apparent. like this. I'm going to heat up my cigar with a couple puffs and pick a small sore on his face and cauterize it.
Ow! The two figures in hats, they hold Chrissy down tight as Alistair holds the hot cinder to Chrissy's face with a strange crackle and bursting sound. The pus is popped and cauterized at the same time. Ow, 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 it hurts, Doc. They're hurting me, Doc.
You think it hurts you? I have just lost a perfectly good cigar.
Well, okay. Hold on now. I'm not familiar with this technique here for curing wounds. This seems like, you're just going to cause infection. There's going to be, I'm a medical doctor here, so I feel like I should get a little bit more information on your
Langdon, taking a break from his work, starts to descend the stairs. Go ahead, though, Dr. Cumberbund.
What is it exactly that you hope to achieve by burning this poor child?
Compromise. And I know you enjoy talking, my friend, but you should do it less.
And with that,
so
we'll give you a moment here.
Do I
This scene unfolding from the stairwell.
can I make a like a knowledge, or do I recognize this?
No check necessary. You immediately recognize this gentleman's, if not the gentleman specifically, you recognize his status. The Grand Wand, to anyone of any kind of civility or, for someone who hasn't spent their whole life on the frontier, you recognize that this is a septed solicitor. Septed, so meaning because he has received his scepter, obviously. And basically, we can think of him in in-game terms as like a, I don't know, some kind of a like a judge and jury. He's like a government bounty hunter, sort of, in this context.
Sure. Okay.
And he has two sequestration officers with him, colloquially known as snags. Obviously known as such because of their man-catcher wands, the tools of their trade.
He's a Pinkerton.
Sceptered solicitor. Happy to see you in these parts. I see that you've wrangled the menace that has been that's been harrowing our tavern here.
Oh, he's just a sick orc. Not a menace yet.
Very sick, socially sick and mentally sick. He's been harassing many of the young ladies about town, and it's great that that you and your wranglers have been.
I will be with you shortly. All right. So
Stephanie, we'll go ahead. Alistair, continue.
I'm going to take my scepter and do a thin beam and do a very gentle fire attack and cauterize all his sores.
All right. So as you all witness, and the grim faces of the snags bear no response to what's happening, the solicitor bends forward with his big scepter, and a jet of hot red light starts to pinpoint sores on Chrissy's skin, causing a terrible smell and causing him to cry out in anguish. Ah! Oh! He screams and writhes, but the snags hold him down fast, and the solicitor resolutely continues his work. And yeah, Stephanie.
I planned on finishing that in silence.
Okay, that's fine. Stephanie, you, what is your reaction to this scene? You see that Reinhardt remains still in his pensive spot behind the bar.
All right, I'm gonna gesture my beer to Reinhardt, getting increasingly drunk, and just be like, "You know that man?"
I don't know him, but I know his kind, and I know you don't want to fuck with him. He's a solicitor. He's a man of the crown.
Why? What would he even want from us? What is he doing here?
Jesus, are you really that drunk? He's here about the Baron, Stephanie. You better hope he doesn't find out that you had anything to do with it.
I didn't have anything to do with it.
All right. We move back to the scene. The solicitor finishes his work, pulling back his scepter, and Chrissy has all but gone unconscious from the pain. Cauterized burns cover his body, and his tongue hangs out of his body in exasperation. The snags, with emotion from Alistair, drop hold on his arms, and he slides toward the ground.
Barkeep, when he wakes up, give him some water and a few strong drinks on me, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I should introduce myself. My name is Alistair Robershaw. I am an agent of the Crown, a accepted solicitor, as your friend noticed so ably. I'm the one they send to fix problems. I'm the one they send when things go wrong.
Is this about the orc problems around here? That orc gang?
I'm happy to look into that as well. What can you tell me about it?
They're going rampant. They had it out for the Baron and his manor, and I mean, they despise civilization. They're scum. We rescued this poor miscreant, and
They've even attacked the public house. That's how we were tipped off to it. What about week prior? A couple goblins attacked the public house, and then we ended up. They captured the daughter of. I'm so fucking sick right now. They captured the daughter of our barkeep here, and we went and rescued him and killed the red orc even.
Well, it must not have been that bad. This looks so much better than the manor.
Alistair recalls the manor was in sorry shape. He's found a body of goblins and guardsmen. The assertion that it was a fight is not, as they say, is not totally unfounded. Behind there's two gentlemen, one a half orc and one robust red-haired logger type. Speaks up. The logger says, "I think they took my brothers." And the half orc says, "It's true. There was a goblin attack here not long ago."
Yeah.
It seems that
how many
the goblin
disappearances
attack
have there been recently?
The goblin attack here was fairly small. There was only a number of them that got away with the woman, and we went and rescued them. I've heard about the attack on the barony, but barony's maybe a larger target than a measly public house. Public house is just a small target, little rampant prank. You know how those goblins get.
I agree. Water may also be wet.
And as Alistair continues to address the group, his snags move and block the door.
I should mention on behalf of these gentlemen that should I send any of them to speak with you, they speak for me and I speak for the Crown, and your cooperation would be appreciated. So how many disappearances have there been lately? Who all is missing? Seems my list is incomplete.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
And the red-haired guy steps forward. Two of my brothers have gone missing. Their names are Arno Chopper and I'm a little bit drunk. Pardon me. Ruffo. Yeah, we just call him RJ Chopper. Both good lumberjacks. They've been missing a couple days now. Something fishy's going on, sir.
I'm going to record that with my staff.
Okay, as you all observe, The solicitor holds forth his staff and, with a firm grip, places it on the floor where it stands of its own volition. And Alistair nods towards the gentleman and asks him to repeat his statement. And as he speaks, he waves a golden gauntleted hand in the air, tracing strange red marks in the air, recording it into his Simicron staff.
Anyone else? Specific information is welcome, especially names and places and times.
Well, like I said, there was a bunch of goblins, and they came and they blew up some grain or something. This is the half-orc there under the pig's face.
They blew up grain.
Well, I don't think they were meaning to attack the grain, but there was bombs or there was somnium. I mean, back me up, man. No, just say it. They blew up the grain, and then the goblins were attacking, and all these guys were there. They didn't remember what happened. He motions to the group assembled.
All right. Was it Professor?
Well, it was a strange day. You know, I mean, they came in and they attacked, and the Baron's men were there and around. But
where was the Baron?
He was on the docks, I think.
On the docks.
But him and his, I believe he had left, and then the goblins came, but they didn't attack the Baron's men. It was suspicious. It was strange.
Yeah, I saw the Baron, the red-haired guy by the table says. I saw him taking off with Reinhardt's girl. And he points accusingly towards Reinhardt, who makes a dead-eyed stare at the logger.
Before we address that, are you suggesting that the Baron was in league with the goblins who were attacking him?
It crossed my mind, absolutely. I mean, he was a respectable man, but he seemed like maybe he had some affiliation with those dirty creatures out there in the woods.
Did the Baron have a history with goblins?
The short history that I saw, there was something going on. I think maybe he got in too deep. He was dealing with anyone and everyone out there, orcs, goblins.
Langdon feels the urge to interject about his knowledge of the history of goblin and human relations in the region.
Well, this region is still very much untamed, and it's not uncommon for goblins and humans to strike alliances, especially among the higher-powered individuals of both of the clans. And so it's not impossible to say that the Baron may have struck a deal in order to have some sort of accordance, some sort of peace treaty, which may explain why the men did not attack. I'm not sure. But this is all us based on what we've seen and not based on what we know for a fact. We don't know anything for a fact. We were only there during an attack, and we saw that the guards did not attack the goblins, and the goblins did not attack the guards. The goblins only attacked the house.
Alistair, as you're listening to Langdon's account, you signal to your Simicron staff, pulling up a string of red symbols projected into the air, which you manipulate with your relay gauntlet, as if you're scrolling through notes, trying to find information. You come upon the relevant mote you were looking for, which mentions that the father of the recently missing Baron was been deceased for some time. He was one of the original founders of the region, and along with our veteran barkeep Reinhardt here, cleared the area in what's casually called the Goblin Wars, and basically settled the region. Gerard was killed many years later under somewhat suspicious circumstances by a group of goblins that entered his manor at night, leaving the barony to Julius, the now missing baron.
Seems as though harmony with the goblins has not necessarily been a key feature of this region. Thoughts, anyone?
It hasn't. But for survival, there must be some sort of harmony. There must be some sort of, if there's peace, but the goblins are still around, wouldn't there have been some sort of understanding?
Well, it's all very understandable. I'm afraid that's the problem. Everything comes down to individual decisions, little sands that weigh down the scale to one side or the other. Unfortunately, on the frontier, there's all this freedom. Nobody thinks about the neighbor. And eventually, the sands get stacked up so high that you need a brick to put it right.
Ooh, I like that. Stephanie, in a moment of revelation, as this strange man is speaking and lecturing to the group, you realize that you know him from your past as only by the name Robbie. And he was a sort of after-school program, like social worker when you were a child back in the city of Bridges. And you remember hearing a story about him losing an entire kind of cadre of children when a kind of closed off under construction area in the under district collapsed and led to the death of a number of children, basically. And you never saw him after that event, and you didn't stay in this city of Bridges for much longer, but you find, despite yourself, a name leaps from your mouth. Robbie?
Robbie?
There's an echo in this room.
Make a perception check, sir.
Go ahead.
My
perception
14
is your perception.
14 was a +6 is your perception?
Double check. It's actually a plus 4,000.
Oh, that sounds excessive.
It's 6.
So that is a modified 20. All of a sudden you realize that this kind of somewhat haggard young woman you see at the end of the bar, you recognize her as a former pupil in a former life.
My goodness. Is it Stephanie?
Yeah, that's me.
Well, you don't look terribly well, but you seem to be doing better than poor Chrissy.
Yeah, you seem to be doing better for yourself. Last I heard, you had run off after you killed a bunch of kids.
That would be the short version.
And with this, one of the snags steps forward in front of the solicitor and says, barks at Stephanie. Hey, you better watch your tone, young lady.
Thank you, Dooley. I have this well in hand.
He rescinds at the solicitor's behest.
Well, since we're catching up, have you lost anyone lately?
No one that I hadn't already lost by the time I met you.
Well put. What have you seen? Have you been out to the manor? Have you seen
Listen.
goblins?
I am about 3 drinks deep at this point. I am, as you can see, not much grown since my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Make a sense motive check. Is that one of your skills there, Alex?
No.
I'm
Neither.
saying to Dan.
Oh,
Not listed.
Okay, well then just use your charisma modifier, which is what?
+5.
Make a charisma check yourself, Stephanie.
hey, I do well at that. Nope, not this time. 8.
You sense that she may have had a few more than 3 drinks. Continue.
My point is that all I've been up to is surviving. I didn't see anything. I don't know anyone. I want to sit here. I want to have my drink. And when the rest of my group is ready, I'm leaving.
Well, my dear, it's your lie. You tell it however you like.
Yeah, she appears to be not telling the whole truth. Dr. Cumberbund, there's a rustling in your pocket. Something is tucked way down deep in your pocket, avoiding detection.
I'm gonna kind of take a sideways glance down in my pocket and see what's causing the stir down there.
Chimey's just shivering down there.
Yeah. Let's see. Are the snags stood any or posted up anywhere around me?
The snags appear to be blocking the exit to the
Okay.
house. There's 2 doors there, and one is posted up in front of each door. One of the snags appears much older than the other, with many scars and marks that would indicate that he's a seasoned warrior. The other is young, but doesn't look entirely different. Brighter eyes. He looks like he's begging for a fight.
Mm-hmm. So what is it exactly that you're looking to find out about here, Alistair? Is something specific happened? Are we on trial here?
Well, we don't exactly do trials, but no, not yet. I'm just here to find the facts.
And which facts are you looking to find there, Alistair?
Well, I suppose I spoke too
Do you
soon.
have a
I would
list?
also love to find a baron. Seem to have misplaced yours.
Not my baron. We're only passing through.
How long
That's
have
right.
you been passing through?
Showed up just this past week here. I've been on my way towards the city of Bridges with my compatriot. He's a boatsman, and was working for a little bit of coin in order to help with the goblin problems around here. I'm a border beater, see, and I know how to survive in the wilds. And I've been passing through on a higher mission for the Duke of Inverness.
You mean to tell me that right as all of this nonsense and chaos starts happening, you wander through town? What terrible luck. I'm so sorry.
Terrible indeed.
What business have you with the Duke of Inverness?
I am one of his border beaters out here in the Veldt. I survey land for him. I create prices. I send back reports on valuable pieces of wealth for him, or what could be future wealth. And so,
as Langdon speaks of his
I survey.
employment, you scroll through your motes, Alistair, and you find a reference to Duke Inverness. He appears to be an influential royal back across the sea in the old country, and he has some land holdings and other investments here on the other side of the big one.
Anything nearby?
I'm gonna just roll a percentile. I hadn't decided that. There's no record of Duke Inverness having any properties within the Gladlock region.
He's looking to make some properties from some purchases.
Well, I just real quick. So I don't know. I know I have a unique visual language. Are my notes available for anybody to read, or is it only me?
I don't think anybody here would be able to read semographics.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this looks like strange runes to them.
So, yeah, I would actually like to initiate that with a question. Is the Duke looking to expand his holdings into this area?
Potentially, depending on the value of the land. He's not necessarily looking for timberland, but as I was passing through, it's my duty to survey, send reports, get prices, get what's available. He's not necessarily looking for timberland, but he may in future years or in future months.
How do you think he'll feel about the instability of the region?
Probably wouldn't be too keen on it. He definitely likes things a certain way. He likes things to be a certain. He likes a calm.
That makes two of us. All right, pickled young lady. And do you have any more details? Have you been out to the manor?
Oh,
Roll
I'm
charisma
sorry.
check, Stephanie, even before you start saying this one.
Boop. 4.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I the young lady?
You're half my age. It seems reasonable.
That's not the part I was questioning.
You may not be a lady.
Oh man, I lost service.
You lost service.
She said with her last amount of internet connection.
That's I mean, no one else would care, but that's meme-worthy, frankly.
Oh man, I lost service.
I may use the delay to hit the restroom unless you would like to keep playing with the
Yeah.
other.
We can take a little break.
Okay. Be right back.
Well, I'm thinking. Don't know that Sam's going to come at all at this point. It said 9:30, so that's not a great sign. Oh, we got new Stephanie.
New Stephanie?
Backup Stephanie.
Hey.
Whoa. Back up.
Yeah, coming at you live from the phone.
Nice.
Okay. Anyway, so basically on my end, the last thing I said was, that's not the part I was questioning. And then my phone.
Okay. While we're waiting you to get
Yeah,
calibrated,
actually-
Dan was going for a bathroom break.
Yeah, actually, the last thing you said was, "Oh no, I lost service."
Oh!
Somebody just stopped on the screen.
Okay, well, I'm glad that went through here. How do I see on my phone? How can I see everyone here? Dun, 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 dun.
I could
Okay,
lock
that
it
works.
onto somebody if you need, Caitlin.
No, I figure it out.
Okay.
I can just only see 4 people at a time, but that's fine.
Oh,
Someone
Woody,
just has to.
just FYI,
Yeah.
I can't play any later than like 9ish. So
Okay. What time is it now?
just a heads up. It's 7:50.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think we'll be playing that late.
Okay, cool.
No.
Because for these
Yeah,
guys,
we
that's
can't
really
'cause-
late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm still at work, so would like to go home.
Yep. I think
Okay.
we'll kind of
For this.
go through just a little more dialogue, and then we'll rejoin next session.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds
Let's
good.
continue the dialogue between Alistair and Stephanie here.
All right.
Who the hell is Caitlin Bradshaw?
Shit, I don't know how to change that. Everyone go with it.
Right click and rename.
On my phone.
Oh.
Nope, I just made my face huge. Okay.
Well then, where were we?
Well, she's Stephanie, so
Right. Pickled young lady may not be accurate. You don't seem terribly ladylike.
Well, I appreciate that.
Do you care to continue
But-
sidestepping the question or address it?
I don't know anything about anyone ever.
She she doesn't appear to be telling the truth.
Seems a touch overbroad.
In fact, it is a statement that maybe there would be no way that she could support.
I got a charisma 4. I was trying to go with that.
No, yeah, I'm just
done.
adding my commentary as Veldt master here.
Maybe once all this business is concluded, we should go back over rhetoric and logic. So, has anyone been anywhere or seen anything that I haven't
No.
spoken with yet? I think we're done for the night, dear. We'll get back to you.
Well,
What about
Alistair,
the burly gentleman behind the bar. We've not spoken yet.
What do you want to know, mister?
I'd like to know if your memory's as good as your brandy.
Well, all I know is that this group went out, and he looks kind of nervously about. They went out after my daughter. She had gone missing. They brought her
I'm so
back, and
sorry.
I'm grateful for that. I don't know what happened to the Baron. Can't say that I think the town is worse off for it. And with that, Alistair, you don't find information really forthcoming from this group. You think it might be time to officially sequester the public house and begin a more formal investigation. And just speaking out of game, we'll get into that the next. But we're going to wrap up tonight's thing. So kind of ending remarks from you, and we always do like a kind of ending remarks, and we move through everybody, and you can either do it in character or it can be kind of like a talking head aside from what's happening, kind of like, oh, here's what I was thinking, or here's what's going on with me. So anyways, we'll do Alistair's closing remarks with the knowledge that he must now kind of formally lock the place down and get some answers.
Well, I think it's about time that we let everybody sober up and settle into a much longer conversation. Mr. Reinhardt, if you wouldn't mind preparing some food, the public house, and what is it, Gladstone? Gladwell?
Gladlock.
Gladlock are now formally under investigation for the disappearance of the Baron of Gladlock.
All right, Dr.
I will
Cumberbund.
not go back to the crown empty-handed.
All right, we gotta try and find a way to get our story straight here. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, we got Reinhardt's daughter back from goblins and not specifically from the Baron. So hopefully our story will all come together in that way. But these guys definitely mean business, and I think I've heard of their kind coming around before, and they don't fuck around. I feel like my authority as a medical professional has been undermined with this treatment of Chris, and I totally had a plan. I mean, my thing didn't work before, but I totally was gonna maybe try something different.
They burned me bad, Doc.
I'm kind of starting to feel bad about that. I'm kind of starting to feel like maybe that has something to do with me. Really appreciate that.
All right, Stephanie.
I don't know. I knew this was coming. I remember what I said. I'm saying this to myself, but remember, we knew that this was what was on the way. You gotta get out of here. Gotta leave these people behind. You haven't even really been with them that long anyway, and apparently they tried to like turn you into a somnium shell. So we're gonna leave this person from my past behind and try to find a way to escape this situation.
And we move to Langdon.
the Baron. All I wanted to do was be the Baron. Is that so much to ask? All I wanted to do was forge a few papers, plant them in the Baron's
Oh,
house,
shit.
and make it seem like I am going to be the next Baron as the rightful heir to this area as their border beater. And it's all going to shit because of this guy. And now I have papers upstairs that implicate the whole thing.
Langdon, I didn't realize Langdon was going to sign himself as Baron. I love that detail.
I've got to find a way out of this thing. Maybe with a little bit of quick wit and a little bit of that silver tongue. You can do this here, Langdon. You can do this. He's a half elf. He'll believe it. He's got one of his own kind on the board, and so maybe I can just pull this out yet and have my own barony to master. And if not, well, at least I can get out of this scot-free and live on the wilds for a while, if nothing else.
And as the conclusion of tonight's adventure, a door slams open at the top of the stairwell, and a very slovenly-looking Jerry descends the stairs. And looking out towards the bunch, says, "What time is it?" And with that, we conclude tonight's adventure.
Oh, man, Jerry, missing all the fun.
Thanks for playing, everybody.